Good evening. Welcome to the first night of the Toronto International Film Festival. It's our 48th edition, and I must say you chose very, very well. This is by far one of the best films of the year, and it's a great way to start. My name is Andrea Picard, and I'm a senior curator here at TIFF and TIFF Cinematheque, and it's my great pleasure to be welcoming this film in its Canadian premiere, Justine Triet's Anatomy of a Fall, which is part of our special presentations program. We would like to thank our lead sponsor, Bell, our major sponsors, RBC, Bulgari, and Visa, for their continued support. Additional thanks to our government sponsors, the Government of Ontario, Telefilm Canada, and the City of Toronto. We would also like to thank Elevation Pictures, Neon, and MK2 Films for providing us with this film, and a big thank you to Unifrance for their generous support. We also extend a warm welcome to the Consul General of France in Toronto, Monsieur Bernard Pousse. This film is eligible for the People's Choice Award. Vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. You're going to hear that a lot over the next 10 days, and this is definitely a favorite of mine. As you likely know, Anatomy of a Fall won the prestigious Palme d'Or earlier this year at the Cannes Film Festival. But I am sure. It's a big award. But I am really glad that more people are, on account of this award and this success, the amazing success that this film has seen so far, and it's just been released in Paris to great reviews and amazing audiences, that it will bring more attention to a filmmaker who I think is so smart, so precise, and has already amassed a really important body of work. Justine Triet is a French writer and director. Her features include Age of Panic from 2013, In Bed with Victoria, 2016, and Sibylle from 2019, which played the festival. Anatomy of a Fall is her latest film. It is riveting from start to finish, and it has a brilliant career-defining performance by the great Sandra Hüller. We are so thrilled to welcome the director and writer of the film tonight. Please welcome Justine Triet.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. It's my first time in Toronto, so I'm so happy. I have a thought for Sandra Hüller, of course. She gave me so much on that movie. I have a thought for Milo Machado-Graner, the kid. You will see him. He's not very famous. He was not famous before, and he was wonderful. On the set with her, and I want to thank all the team of Neon, all the team of the TIFF, of course, my producers who support me. No, it's not support. Qui me supporte. Okay. Bon. I think it's not the same. Yeah. And so I don't want to spoil anything before the movie, but maybe I just want to say, okay, the movie is talking about family, couple, and creation, and how we can live together. It's a big program. So, and I try to get inside the brain of Sandra. So it was very, very intense for me. Okay, so maybe we can talk after the movie. So have a good screening and enjoy. Thank you.
And we are going to be assisted by Asia. So thank you for being here. It's hard to come down after this film. There's a roller coaster of emotions. But I have to start with Sandra, because this is such an all-out performance, and I know you've worked with her before in Sibylle. Was this role written for her?
Oui, complètement. C'est vrai que j'ai écrit un autre projet pour elle que j'ai abandonné et j'avais extrêmement envie de retravailler avec elle. Et c'est vrai que c'est pas toujours le cas pour mes films. C'est la première fois que j'ai vraiment pensé à elle totalement, avec en esprit son corps, sa voix, sa façon d'être.
Yes, absolutely. I had written a previous project for her that I abandoned, and this one is the first time that I write with such a person in mind in this way, her body, her voice entirely over the writing.
Et je pense que c'est quelqu'un qui m'inspirait beaucoup, cette opacité, c'est le fait de tout le temps switcher de quelque chose, de ne pas savoir qui elle est, de pas ce côté insaisissable.
Her opacity was very inspiring to me, the way in which we don't really know who and how she is. Her ungraspability was very central.
And this is a constant in all of your films. You have these incredibly complex women who are grappling with situations of chaos that can be very everyday, but also in heightened situations, whether it's an election or filmmaking, and in this case, the procedural nature of things. And her opacity, I think, is something that also plays in to the writing and narrative in that she is being judged for everything, not just murder, her character, her complexity, on how she is a mother, how she is a lover, how she is an artist. Can you talk about that?
Oui, c'est vraiment... C'est quelque chose que je trouve passionnant en réalité dans les films de procès. C'est à la fois, voilà, on juge une affaire, mais c'est aussi tout un... On juge aussi, on projette aussi une vision de la société, des femmes, des hommes. Et je pense que c'est quelqu'un d'assez libre, donc c'est quelqu'un qui assume d'être comme elle est et qui, d'une certaine façon, est aussi jugé pour ça.
Yes, this is really what fascinates me about courthouse dramas. In this way, what's on trial is never just the person, but is projected there always an idea of society at large, of men or women, and the way that she is a very free character is also what's being tried.
And in terms of the writing, you wrote this film with your partner, Arthur Harari, who's also an actor, a great filmmaker in his own right. It feels very raw in some instances and very intimate. Can you talk about that process?
It's not our life.
I did not say that.
I precise for. Oui, c'est vrai que ça a été vraiment une chose assez inédite dans notre vie, c'est-à-dire qu'on l'a pas fait avant. Je pense pas qu'on le refera. C'était trop intense. C'est intéressant. Ce film, dans toute sa fabrication, a été un match. À la fois, c'est un match entre cet homme et cette femme, et ça parle vraiment du couple, mais ça a été aussi écrit effectivement par nous qui sommes un couple aussi, voilà. Et j'ai aussi créé un couple de producteurs et donc jusqu'au bout, même jusqu'au montage, ça a été constamment en fait, je pense, un jeu comme ça de ping-pong constant en fait. Voilà. Après, Arthur écrivait autant la part féminine que masculine, et moi, je veux dire, on est évidemment pas cantonné aux parts féminin ou masculin, excuse-moi.
Yeah, so it was unprecedented. We hadn't done it before, and I'm not sure we'll do it again. But it was this creation like this. I think that the entire film is organized kind of like a match, or there's this struggle between a man and a woman. And in the same way, we were writing together in this as a couple, and this is something that resonates throughout, all the way to the producers, because I brought two producers together that have become a unit of kinds also. Having said that, though, the writing wasn't done in such a way as that he appropriated the masculine parts and I the feminine. It was a much more collaborative process than that.
Et je pense aussi à quelque chose, c'est que la scène de dispute, par exemple, est vraiment une scène où en fait c'est quasiment, en fait, d'une certaine façon, les prémices de ce qui va se produire en fait dans la salle d'audience, c'est-à-dire un match aussi d'idées, en fait, un match théorique en fait de bataille qui serait presque les prémices de ce qu'on va voir. C'est-à-dire que la langue devient quelque chose vraiment qui sert voilà, mais que c'est un combat d'idées avant d'être un combat de pulsion. Et ça, c'était quelque chose de vraiment très important quand on a écrit ça. Et je pense qu'il y a un peu contaminé toute la façon de fabriquer du film, quoi.
And so something that occurred to me is that the fight scene, in some ways, the premise of what we are going to see unfold later in the trial and in the courtroom, in this way that it's a struggle over ideas before it's a struggle of impulsion. And I think that that kind of contaminated the entire fabrication of the film.
I love it in this moment where she says, a couple is a kind of chaos. And for me, that sums up a lot of the film. And I'm wondering if that was a starting point or if it was more a courtroom situation or something that had inspired you in a fait divers, for instance.
Non, je pense que c'est plus la première chose, je ne sais plus comment vous l'avez formulé.
The chaos of the couple.
Ouais, je pense que c'est quelque chose qui me passionne et que mais je pense qu'il passionne tout le monde, en fait, qui est universel, qui est quelque chose dont on se demande. Moi, je pense que la première scène du film que vous avez vue, où vous êtes projeté dans un endroit qui serait vraiment l'endroit du couple, l'endroit qu'on ne comprend pas, en fait, qu'on ne peut pas comprendre, en fait. D'ailleurs, on ne comprend pas, le mari s'exprime par la musique, etc. Donc c'est quelque chose d'incompréhensible. Et on va passer 2h30 à essayer de déchiffrer, de revivre, de refabriquer même certaines scènes, comme au cinéma, pour essayer de comprendre, en fait, constamment. Donc il y a cette idée que, oui, le chaos doit être organisé, doit être expliqué, doit être... voilà. Et évidemment qu'il y a une partie de cette vérité qui nous échappe, et c'est ça qui est passionnant et déroutant.
So I would say rather the first thing, the chaos of the couple, being something that fascinates me and that I think fascinates everyone. It's rather a universal interest. And in this way, I think this first scene of the film that you just saw is really the space of the unknowable of the couple, what happens between them and their way of communicating, this way that his invisibility and his way of communicating through the music, this sort of core scene, which then we will spend the film trying to resolve and understand by reenacting it the way that we reenact it in cinema also, and this relationship to this unknowability that a part of which will always escape us despite our efforts to make the chaos organizable.
I think you've probably incited a surge in PIMP on Spotify or something. There's a lot of people humming it, the instrumental part of the 50 Cent. I'm wondering when you chose that.
Yes, sorry for my English. Yes, and it was for the little story. We asked at the beginning for Jolene by Dolly Parton, and they refused. So I was very furious because I was like, shit, in the courtroom we have many things about the lines of the song, so I had to cancel it and to change everything, you know. But I like very much the 50 Cent version, yes, of course. And it was not so expensive because 50 Cent sent it to the exotic band, so it was good for us because... And Dolly Parton, I like so much Jolene, but it was too expensive for us, I think.
I'm still trying to make the leap from Dolly Parton to 50 Cent, but but I will get there. I also just want to talk about the young son, who's phenomenal, and the dog, of course, who won the Palme dog in Cannes. Snoop, can you talk about working with them?
About the dog or the boy?
They're very separate.
Okay. Le garçon, ça a été un casting extrêmement long de plus de 5 mois. On a d'abord essayé de trouver un garçon réellement aveugle et qu'on n'a pas trouvé. On a ouvert le casting et on a trouvé Milo qui était vraiment exceptionnel en casting. Et après, le chien, oui, je pense que dans ce film, le chien est regardé comme un être vivant, n'est pas un faire-valoir de l'homme. Donc c'était très important pour moi de me mettre à sa distance, de vraiment filmer à son niveau. Et un film de Sandra Hüller que j'aime énormément qui s'appelle White Dog, qui m'a beaucoup influencé aussi pour ses plans. Oui, c'est pour moi, c'est le regard de... Pardon. c'est le double de Samuel. C'est presque comme un fantôme de Samuel et en même temps le... Ouais. Sorry.
So for the child, it was a very long casting process. It took over 5 months. We had originally intended to try and find a child who was blind, and eventually met Milo, who was really incredible in the casting, and the rest ensued. And in terms of the dog, it was very important for me that it be a character of kind, or a sensitive being anyway, not an accessorized sort of faire-valoir for the human participants. And in this way, so to put myself at his level and to film almost from his perspective, I was inspired by Samuel Mueller's film Samuel Fuller's film White Dog, and then the relationship that the dog has to the husband and to Samuel. There's this kind of almost ghostly, spectral presence, I think.
I think if you're not adding, we have time for a couple of questions, if there are. Oh, sorry. Okay, right in the middle up there. Middle over here. If you can speak loudly, please. There is no microphone.
Wonderful movie. Thank you so much for bringing it here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The stunning, for me, second last scene, Daniel comforting his mother as if he's the parent and she's the child. It seems so natural, like they both knew that's what had become of their relationship. Can you speak to that?
The question is about in the final scene when Daniel comforts the mother and there seems to be a role reversal.
Yes, oui, je pense qu'en fait, Daniel à ce moment-là change vraiment, a évolué plus grand, et je pense que depuis qu'il a fait son témoignage, il y a quelque chose qui a vraiment, comment dire, il a plus le même statut, c'est-à-dire qu'effectivement il a aidé sa mère, il va devoir vivre avec ça, il va vivre aussi avec cette incertitude de savoir si elle est coupable ou pas. Donc il y a vraiment cette idée de, voilà, on se réconforte et en même temps les doutes sont toujours présents en réalité.
Yes, I think at that point there's such a character shift because the child has grown so much and has transformed in that process. And by that time, despite the comfort, the fact of having to continue on living with the fact of having helped his mother, but also of the doubt that persists between them is all present.
Sorry, we can't see. Yes, okay. I'm sorry, can you speak a bit more loudly? We can't hear you. The fact of the unresolvability and the ambiguity in the film.
Pour moi, le film se base sur le manque d'image, le manque en fait, vraiment. Et l'idée du doute est vraiment presque sur elle et sur, voilà, comme quand on assiste à un fait divers dans la vie, il y a quelques faits qu'on connaît tous en fait, dont on doute de ça, de la finalité. Et je pense que c'est vraiment le socle du film. Donc je pense que c'est plus même, comment dire, affirmé que ce que vous dites. C'est que je pense que j'aurais pas fait le film que je voulais faire. Je veux dire, si j'avais fait un super twist à la fin ou une résolution finale, je pense que même en tant que spectatrice, ce qui m'intéresse le plus dans les faits divers, dans les histoires, c'est justement souvent les faits les plus complexes où je ne sais pas à la fin. Parce qu'on est obligé de se faire finalement, de décider, justement comme Daniel. Voilà.
For me, really, the very central concept of the film, or what really drove my interest in creating it, is this relationship to a lack of images, but also just something lacking. And so had I gone and in the direction of what you suggest of either having some kind of twist or explanation by the end, I think I wouldn't have made the film I was trying to make. And as a spectator also, both in the cinema and in real life, in the kind of public enigmas that we know, what's interesting to me is the doubt that persists. And like Daniel has to, the fact that as spectators, some kind of internal decision must be made.
C'est aussi dans l'idée effectivement que vous soyez dans la même position en fait que Daniel, c'est que vous ne savez pas. Voilà.
And in this way, you all come to be in the same position as Daniel, in that you really do not know.
I think actually ambiguity in films is quite rare, and I think it provides a tremendous amount of richness, and it engages us in a different way. And your films are so intelligent. I have to tell you that because I feel like I think about them for much longer. I'm sure you're gonna think about this one for a long time and not just have the 50 cent in your head, but all these questions that we pose about how to live with one another, how to be with one another, how do we judge one another, and all these societal roles that are put upon us, and the way in which you dealt with it is just brilliant.
Thank you so much.
We're almost out of time.
You want
have anything
I didn't
else?
say no.
No? Unfortunately, we are out of time. Justine, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
for this great film. Thank you all. Have a great rest
Thank
of
you.
the festival, everyone.
Thank you very much.